education landscape is at a critical crossroads. With 20% of students expect to start a business one day, schools are now producing more entrepreneurs than any other profession. Yet, 68% of secondary teachers believe students lack the essential soft skills needed for the future. And then pair this with statistics that 80% of people are dissatisfied with their day jobs, it raises a pressing question. Is the current education system fit for purpose? And then news this morning revealing a startling trend. Many members of Generation Z are turning to professionals to help with simple household tasks like, and I'm not joking, changing a light bulb. So this coincides with a broader concern, really, that young adults are lacking those basic practical skills as digital reliance and changing societal norms reshape what it means to be self-sufficient. So we've brought in David Harkin. He is the CEO and founder of 8 Billion Ideas, here to discuss how we can better equip young people with the skills they need for everyday life. His critical curriculum aims to bridge that gap, blending life skills, entrepreneurship and career education to help prepare students for the realities of the modern world. And crucially, David, you're a dad of 3 too, so you've got some skin in the game. How are you?
I certainly do. I like to say I'm brilliantly busy and terrifically tired, being a dad of 3 boys, 8, 6 and 2, keep me on my toes.
Ooh. How has the global education system evolved to your mind over the years? And do you think it is fit for purpose? When we look back and go, well, it was started for this reason and that changed for that reason, what might we not know or never questioned?
I think the main thing is that actually every school I've been into is doing a remarkable job under sometimes quite difficult conditions, whether or not that's in the Middle East, in Europe, UK, the US, wherever it might be across the world. And I think the second thing is to add, every child I've ever met, any student I've ever met does have an amazing imagination, but every child is different with their journey, with the skills and belief that they might have. You've got to really look at every child differently. And what to me is what's most important is the amount of experiences they're getting from their school. Or indeed at home as well, because it isn't just in school that it's happening. You know, fundamentally, the system isn't fit for purpose because the statistic you shared at the start of the show, is that 80% of people are dissatisfied with what they're doing in the working world. So
guys, let us know on 4001. You can give me a thumbs up if you're satisfied with your job and a thumbs down if you're not.
Interesting.
Tell us a little bit about that mission. It's about giving students the skills and the belief to change the world effectively. And that sounds very kind of grandiose and ambitious, but that really is at the crux of it. But what does that mission look like in practice? You know, which age group are you working with and how does it work, David?
So our name is 8 Billion Ideas. So the 8 billion people on the planet. I feel that sometimes we just think about students in school, but actually everybody out there is on this progression and opportunity to learn. And we did start with that big, nice mission statement about giving students the skills and belief to change the world. And we do believe in elements of the core curriculum, maths, English and science. But actually, if you step aside from that, topics like entrepreneurship, career education, life skills, performance and well-being, I'm not sure how we can call those subjects extra anymore. So most schools will talk about their extra curriculum offering. Whenever you describe anything as extra, it goes down the pecking order. It's not so important. So for us, what we've done over the years is try to navigate that balance of not competing against the core, but understanding that you need to complement the core with these different areas of learning. So for us, we've really described that as the critical curriculum, whether or not it's an IB school, a British school, an American school, Indian school, and making sure you start these topics really young as well. So you can get you can often focus in secondary school when you talk about career education, but some of the statistics about early years and key stage 1 about how strongly influenced a young child is by the time they're 7 or 8, we've got a major problem in turning it around. So that's why we made it our big mission statement.
Critical curriculum that teaches skills like entrepreneurship, career education and well-being to prepare students for the real world. So we're talking about why entrepreneurship in particular should be at top of the education agenda. How does it work with 8 Billion Ideas? You're here in the UAE. You believe it is really at the forefront of education innovation. How are you working with schools and out of schools on some of these 5 pillars that you have when it comes to learning?
So thank you. So we work with 2 to 18-year-olds, which is a fascinating experience getting to work with the teenagers as well as the little ones coming into education. And we effectively split it into a couple of different programs. We have a challenge-based approach learning for our under 11s, and we have our curriculum and courses for the 11 to 18-year-olds. So anybody who's got a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old at home, if you're in one of our 8 Billion Ideas schools, they'll be going through a program such as Light Bulb Moments, where it's their job to generate an idea which could change the world. And if you ask a child of that age to come up with an idea which could change the world, you will get some amazing ideas. But we take take that opportunity for that energy to then jump on it and teach them the building blocks of entrepreneurship. So as they go through our programs, whether it's Design the Next Toy Craze or Startup School, or when they become a sixth former, they go through programs such as the internship, it's fun, it's interactive, it's different, but it's allowing the child to have that opportunity to problem solve and be creative as early as we possibly can.
So when you're saying an 8 billion idea school, there are schools in the UAE that have now are kind of partnering with you guys. Are those as ECAs? Are they woven into the curriculum? Have they replaced subjects within the school timetable? What's that like, David?
The vast majority is in timetables. So when you dive into the curriculums and the regulators around the world, there is pockets of where entrepreneurship does, of course, need to be taught. So we found that our early adopters, the positive disruptors out there, the principals have looked at what we've done and found a way to build it into their school. So there's always opportunity, whether it's a drop-down day or week-to-week lessons. But we've seen an increasing demand from parents for after-school activities as well as camps. So last summer, we launched our first camps, which was Invention Camp, Young Leaders Camp, Imagination Camp, and we can just see that huge demand. So we're an education company which is 12 months a year, working inside and outside of the timetable.
Any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out. Now, can we come back to this alarming statistic that I saw this morning, which was basically something like 1 in 5 Gen Zers don't know how to change a light bulb. And I mean, this can be for numerous reasons. What are your theories? And when you're talking about life skills, are we teaching enough? It feels like we're starting to get these, really widening gaps in what should be common sense and common knowledge. What's your take?
Yeah, I'm going to take a big, deep breath in answering this question because it's quite an interesting topic about the lack of intergenerational understanding between different generations. So it's very easy to look at an article such as that and straight away you kind of a smirk might appear. But actually, this generation is very different. They are the Amazon generation, the post-Steve Jobs generation, as I like to call it, that we all grew up differently in our relationship to technology. Some people went to school and there was no computers. Some people went to school, saw the rise of tech, and this generation, everything is around them. Which means that the Amazon generation, things just happen instantly. So we do need to talk about some of those practical skills. And remember, it's not just schools. Schools should be teaching that. A lot of those practical skills, changing a light bulb, changing a tyre, we do have a responsibility at home to be teaching those as well as in school.
100%.
And look, I do think there's opportunities to sneak in more of this very practical skill. So when we're talking about entrepreneurship as skill, which is key, but those everyday little skills which kind of can hold you back, I think there could be an opportunity to sneak those in. But I'm still going to kind of counter argument back. It doesn't matter how much you're spending on your child's education. There's an element of responsibility at home you have to take as a parent for those little moments of education and opportunities to teach your child those practical skills to survive.
To survive, exactly. What do you think we can do to foster entrepreneurship in our kids, even if they're not in an 8 billion ideas school?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I can see it with my children, Toby, Harry and Ben, because they'll be asking questions when they're listening. What is a CFO and what does a marketing person do? How do you interview someone? So you have those conversations at home around the dinner table. And the boys are very blessed that both their parents are indeed entrepreneurs. They started a business. I think what's key is not to get sucked into this thing. It's about starting a business. It's about, when we teach entrepreneurship, it's about having that mindset no matter what you do. So the best teachers in schools I like to describe as teacherpreneurs. They're creating the best lessons, taking risks, starting ideas, or intrapreneurs, where you act like an entrepreneur, but within a business or within a public sector entity. And Dubai is full of intrapreneurs, teacherpreneurs, entrepreneurs, because by default, the vast majority of people have come here, have taken a risk to start something, to try a new job. And so those characteristics of creativity and problem solving are at home, right? But sometimes we forget it. So it's about an entrepreneurial mindset, but it's taking those little opportunities, Helen, to teach a child when they're curious about an idea or they've got an invention. What I often find with 6, 7, 8-year-olds, they've got a great idea. And whether or not the parent is an entrepreneur or not, the first thing mum or dad will do is say, I'm afraid, Toby, that idea is never going to work, because they're protecting their child. So the first thing you can do, whether or not you're an entrepreneur and you've got a child at home who is interested, is that they come up with something crazy and fantastic and great, just get carried away with them, explore that idea with them, let them work out why the idea is or isn't possible. And the second thing, if your child is showing some signs of being really interested in entrepreneurship, encourage them and teach them the fact that probably the first idea they're going to work on isn't going to work. It's that ability to adapt and to learn and continue to listen as you grow your ideas. So it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not, there's still those opportunities to teach your child those skills.
That growth mindset, something I've really been trying to do with my girls. It was this idea of, if you drive past a business, using a hairdresser as an example, what do you think they do there? Who might work there?
Yeah.
What might some of the costs be of running that business? And I was like, that's an interesting way of getting kids to think about what a business, how it might run. And then if it's a really hot day, maybe a bad example in Dubai, what business might do well today? What maybe would be in demand today? And this idea of supply and demand, even if you're not labeling it.
I think they're fantastic ideas. Little opportunities like that. You don't have to be a professor of entrepreneurship or run successful businesses and exit them to take opportunities for a child to learn. I'm pleased you mentioned the kind of hairdressers, the coffee shop owners, because entrepreneurship, sometimes we can be misled to be thinking about those people on TV in nice suits, but actually there's entrepreneurs everywhere, all around us. 20% of most economies around the world have got small businesses, entrepreneurs, self-made individuals, and just asking questions such as that is perfect, such as even a birthday party. We've got X amount of dirhams to spend. How can we get the most out of it? Little opportunities like that are great ways to teach a child.
Ted's been in touch on 4001 saying, hi both. Does your guest think the current education system is capable of teaching our children how to use AI tools and other online systems and tech? Our school is trying, and it feels like the blind leading the blind. It's a good question, especially in such a rapidly evolving space. What's your take on this?
100% schools are capable, but you need to give them the opportunity. Okay, there's so much going on in schools. I like to say that they're brilliantly busy places, so much emotion in a school with parents, teachers, students. They're the most remarkable places, but they don't have enough room to breathe sometimes. You've got incredible expertise in schools, but also schools need to be braver when it comes to partnerships. They don't always have to do it themselves. So I often say to school leaders when they're working with 8 billion ideas is don't see us as a supplier, see us as a partner. That's very two different mindsets. So they're capable. You need to give them the room to breathe, but schools do need to be a little bit more open-minded to bringing in great partners in their school to help.
If you've got any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out. This is your chance. And I'm curious, have your children started saying, whether they are tots or teens, what they want to be when they grow up? And should we be encouraging that at an early age? I'm keen to get David's take on that. To my mind, some of the most interesting people in the world still don't know what they want to be when they grow up. But how can we help our children when it comes to career education? And I guess this idea of following their passion into adulthood.